Our first guest tonight is an Emmy Award-winning comedian and actor you know from shows such as The Office, Extras, and Afterlife. His latest comedy special, Supernature, begins streaming on Netflix May 24th. Let's take a look.
People quiz me on Twitter when they find out I'm an atheist. They go, what, you don't believe in God at all? I go, no. Do you pray? I go, no. They go, why don't you pray just in case there's a God? And I say, why do you put garlic over your door just in case there's a Dracula, right? And I've got no problem with praying, you know? I know loads of nice Christians and Muslims and Jews, and if one of my family is very ill, they always say, oh, I'll pray for them. And I always say, oh, thanks very much, because it's a nice gesture. If they said, oh, we also cancelled the chemotherapy, I go, don't do that, don't do that. Pray, fill your boots, son, but let's do the praying and the chemotherapy, shall we? Because that's the same result as just the chemotherapy. So let's definitely keep that one, shall we?
Please welcome back to the show our good friend Ricky Gervais. Welcome back, Ricky.
Oh.
It's always lovely to have you here in person, though you did seem to enjoy, we spoke a few times via Zoom, and I always thought it was such a coincidence that you found your way right in front of all your awards.
They're not all of them. Well, I didn't set them up. That was my...
I don't know. These Emmys look very set up. I mean, they're very complimentary.
That's not even all the BAFTAs. There's 3 more there.
So 7 Did you ever win a Golden Globe? I mean, obviously you hosted it to great regard.
I won 2. They're over this side of the room, though.
So you can see them when you Zoom with me. You can see the globes. So we talked a little backstage about how, you know, the pandemic in a way allowed us to be a little lazier with ourselves. Did you take to the laziness?
Yeah, it suited me.
Yeah.
Just being at home, no one coming to the house. I didn't even have to lie to get out of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like christenings and funerals and weddings, they're all cancelled.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was going, oh, I was gutted, I was looking forward to that, you know. But it has ruined me. Now I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything ever again.
But that's why I'm so impressed that you, not only have this special, you're out on the road again, but Supernature, why did you name it this?
Title comes from 2 reasons, really. One, I sort of debunk the supernatural. I don't believe in anything supernatural, so I go through that. And also, I say that nature is super enough, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't need unicorns and fairies and that. And I say we've got the octopus, you know, things like that. And the duck-billed platypus, it's a monotreme, right? When people first discovered the duck-billed platypus, they thought it was a hoax, right? They did, and that's true. And it produces eggs and milk. It could make its own custard.
Yeah.
It doesn't, but it could.
It could.
So I go into why I love nature and why I hate people. That's the main theme.
You've always been not just an atheist, but sort of proudly an atheist. That clip is a wonderful example of that. And as the clip sort of details, people continue to come at you for this and think that you're on the wrong side of this position.
Well, I mean, Twitter is... there's a billion people on Twitter, and, you know, it's like looking at every toilet wall in the world at once, isn't it? You mustn't take it serious. So with all those people on there, you know, someone's going to say something stupid. I mean, I look for them. I mean, I like... That's the good thing about Twitter, I guess. Like, 20 years ago, an observational comic would actually have to go to, like, homes and prisons to meet people that talk to you on... Twitter, so I can do it from the safety of my Hampstead mansion. I can speak to the worst people in the world and formulate comedy.
So your observational comedy comes from a place of great comfort for you. You've managed to observe through your phone.
Yeah, exactly. I can talk to the maddest people on the earth.
You talk about health. We were talking backstage. For all intents and purposes, you feel like people our age are living on borrowed time.
I think we're not meant to live this long.
Yeah.
I'm 60. It's not natural. It's like when we were hunter-gatherers, we make it to about, I don't know, 25 if we're lucky. Then we get a scratch, dead. You know what I mean? But now we're just kept alive. They replace everything. You know, they can.
Are you-
They can't do the head transplant yet.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you?
I would, yeah.
You
because
would.
I only care about that.
Right.
I don't really care about this rubbish.
Okay.
This just gets me around to do stuff.
Gotcha.
So one day, someone will have their like head crushed, but their body will be all right. I'll have my body crushed, or it just fall apart. They
Yeah.
keep me alive in a jar or something, and then I'd have paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a bit of cash now. I'll have that body, and then I put my head on a new body. Statistically, I will get a bigger penis. So
When you
it won't be mine.
Yeah. How long do you think? Be honest. How long do you
What?
think it would
Sorry.
take?
Sorry.
Let me tell you that's wishful thinking. I don't know who you think's getting crushed by a bus. But how long do you think it would take to get used to a different penis?
I wouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah.
Although it wouldn't be my hand either.
That's a good point. That would be the trickier part.
So
yeah.
I just close my eyes. I just get all the feelings.
So I think we've worked through that. I think hopefully if that's the last hurdle for science, I hope they watch this. You explain. You go out of your way to explain irony in your special. I mean, I feel like the British are very proud about the fact that they, I feel like, have the best sense of irony. Did you feel the need to explain irony for Americans specifically, or just comedy
No.
audiences?
And I
Okay.
sort of do it as a joke. That is the joke that I'm explaining, and I still get it wrong. So I explain. I say, I come out and I say something awful. And then I say that was irony. There's going to be a bit of that throughout the show. See if you can spot it. That's when I say something I don't really mean for comic effect. And you as an audience, you laugh at the wrong thing because you know what the right thing is. So I sort of do it as a joke to challenge them. And then I carry on saying terrible things and hopefully they get it.
And it does seem fun because in a weird way, like, and not a weird way, I'm very on purpose, but you've then involved them in what the game is going to be.
And I've challenged them.
Yeah, and you keep catching them off guard
exactly,
with it.
and I've challenged them to be offended, and
Yeah.
I told them it's a joke, and I think that's the big thing now that people are, it's always been the same. People have always been offended by comedians or things they say, but we didn't used to hear about it. You know, we didn't used to have Twitter. But to write a complaint 20 years ago, you'd go, "Dear BBC, I can't be bothered." You know. But now someone tweets something, and the papers pick that up and go, "Look, so people are furious. ZX143 said this," and it becomes a thing, and it isn't. You should ignore it. You should just ignore it.
I think that is very good advice because I do think, especially when there's craft to the joke. Like, for example, look, because you do in the beginning of the special, you set up like here's the game to some degree, and each time there's never any laziness to the joke because the joke is always there's a construction.
And I explained that a joke isn't a window to the comedian's true soul. You know, it's a joke. I'll pretend to take a view. I'll pretend to be right wing. I'll pretend to be left wing. I'll pretend to be clever. I'll pretend to be stupid. Whatever makes the joke. You know, it's all about the joke. And I think people often get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target. And if you look at it, you know, often the target's me. It's my stupidity or me getting something wrong. Or, I think that's where it comes from. And I deal in taboo subjects on purpose because I want to take the audience to a place that hasn't been before. But I also think they're good to crunch. They're good. There is a tension, and it's always okay in the end. And I think that's what they're only taboo because people want them to be taboo. People said, "Oh, that's controversial," because they want you to shut up.
Yeah.
That's why they say that's they want you to shut up. So don't shut up.
Your next special is called Armageddon,
Yes.
and now that seems very in line with the way you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you setting out to do here?
Again, it's me pondering how the humanity will be wiped out, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Do you think you'll be here to see it?
I'll see some of it. I'll see the beginning of it.
Yeah.
You know, but I think I think young people now will have a very different middle age to me, and it's my fault, my generation and the generation before, the boomers with the fossil fuels and the global warming. So someone who's 20 now, in 40 years' time, they'll be in their apartments with masks on, crying.
Yeah.
Like they do now over jokes.
Now I will say this. I'm very happy to hear because we were talking about health, and you are because you're not giving up. You're out. You're walking. You're very. You try to be ambulatory a good amount of the time.
This is how you talk about someone in a chair
We're
in a
so.
home.
Give a round. Look, Ricky went for a walk. Give him a
Listen, I don't care. I'll as I say, as long as I can sort of still talk and drink, I don't care if I end up in a bucket.
Yeah.
I'm just being pushed around in a bucket of my own urine and feces by a nurse with a drip and that.
What if they say we have bad news? We don't.
You're going to live a bit longer.
We don't have a body for you. We have a lovely bucket.
They're fine.
Just your head in a bucket.
And then when it gets too much, I'll just take the pill. Hopefully, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'll just go into CVS and go, give me the pill. And they go, are you sure? I go, of course I'm sure. Look at me.
They go, here's one, and here's one for free. Hey, thanks for being here. Congrats again on this special. What a pleasure. Ricky Gervais, Supernature, begins streaming on Netflix May 24th.